Welcome to another explainer. Today we're looking at fruit equals healthy? Not always. The hidden pesticide truth. You probably have an apple, some grapes, or a carton of strawberries sitting in your kitchen right now. We've been told our whole lives that eating fruit is the ultimate path to health. But what if the very foods giving us our daily vitamins are hiding a dark chemical secret? Let's dive in and unpack a truth that might just change the way you look at your fruit bowl forever. So are poisons hidden inside your daily fruits? I know, it sounds a little alarmist, right? But as we peel back the layers on agricultural data, this is exactly the question we need to be asking. We put a lot of trust in the produce aisle. We just naturally assume, hey, it's a fruit, it's pure. But modern farming means an invisible chemical war is waged on our food before it ever reaches our plates. Thousands of tons of synthetic compounds are used globally every year to maximize crop yields, and we really need to understand how that unseen process works. And here is the shocking fact we really need to anchor ourselves to today. Fruits absolutely are healthy, but they often contain significantly more pesticide residue than grains do. Just let that sink in for a second. Think about a bowl of fresh berries next to a bowl of plain rice or oats. Instinctively, we think the raw, fresh fruit is the cleaner option because it comes straight from the earth. But the data from rigorous agricultural testing tells a very, very different story about what actually survives the journey from the soil.
Let's break down the myth versus the reality here. The myth is that washing removes all chemicals. We all do it. We buy a shiny apple, run it under the cold tap for 3 seconds, maybe rub it on our shirt and think, perfect, I've washed off all the chemicals. But the reality? Washing only removes surface chemicals. Sure, it gets rid of dirt, dust, and some topical sprays, but it completely ignores a massive fundamental part of modern pesticide technology that goes way beyond what a quick rinse in your sink can handle.
And that brings us to a crucial concept: systemic pesticides. These are chemicals that are absorbed internally and remain trapped right inside the fruit pulp. These aren't just sprays that sit on the outside skin. They're engineered to be soaked up by the plant's roots and leaves. They travel completely through the plant's vascular system and end up inside the part you eat. You literally cannot wash a systemic pesticide off because it has become part of the fruit's cellular structure. As the plant draws up water from the soil, it pulls these synthetics right along with it. And thin-skinned fruits are exceptionally vulnerable to this internal absorption, which perfectly illustrates why grains actually have an unexpected advantage. Look at the structural difference here. Thin-skinned fruits absorb chemicals internally, whereas grains are protected by tough outer layers. Fruits like berries or peaches have almost no barrier. Whatever is sprayed on them or absorbed by them goes straight into the flesh. Grains, on the other hand, are like tiny botanical fortresses. They've got husks, hulls, and bran. These incredibly tough physical barriers act like armor, taking the chemical hit in the fields and shielding the nutritious core inside.
So how does this structural difference translate to the food we actually eat? Let's track the journey. Step 1, grains are harvested with those tough, protective layers entirely intact. Step 2, they are heavily processed. Milling and threshing physically strip away those outer, chemically exposed layers. And finally, Step 3, we cook them. Boiling, baking, and steaming can actually degrade certain leftover chemicals through high heat. Meanwhile, that raw strawberry sitting on your plate, it hasn't had any of these chemical-reducing interventions. Okay, so which fruits should you avoid and which are safe? I know you're probably looking at your kitchen counter thinking, great, so what am I supposed to do when I'm standing in the produce aisle? It's a totally valid question, because nobody wants to give up fruit entirely, and you absolutely shouldn't. It's essential for a balanced diet. It's just about making smart, structurally informed choices based on the biology of the fruit itself, rather than blindly filling up your shopping cart.
When we break down the testing data, a super clear pattern emerges. Under high pesticide residue, we have strawberries, grapes, and apples. These all share thin, fully edible skins. Even with an apple, we usually just eat the skin right along with the pulp. Now compare that to the comparatively safer choices: bananas, papayas, and pineapples. Notice the pattern? These fruits have thick, robust outer peels that we completely throw away before eating. That thick skin acts as a natural hazmat suit for the fruit inside, taking the chemical hit from the environment so you don't ingest it. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, but wait, I buy everything organic. Well, here is a hard truth. Organic labels are not always trustworthy. We need to be realistic about what that label actually means. While organic farming restricts synthetic pesticides, it absolutely still uses pesticides. They are just derived from natural sources. And sometimes, farmers have to use a much higher volume of these natural pesticides to save the crop.
Throw in cross-contamination from neighboring farms or lingering chemicals in the soil, and paying top dollar for that organic sticker just isn't the foolproof magical shield we want it to be.
So how do we take back control of our health? It's actually incredibly straightforward. First up, choose local fruits. The less distance a fruit has to travel, the fewer chemical preservatives it needs to survive the journey. Second, buy seasonal fruits. Forcing a fruit to grow out of its natural season usually requires massive chemical intervention. And third, like we just saw, prioritize thick-skinned varieties where you can just peel away and throw out that heavily exposed outer layer entirely.
The choices you make at the grocery store have a profound, long-term impact on your body. The science is clear. Not all healthy-looking foods are created equal. This information must reach every home, because understanding the simple biology of what you eat can actively protect you from invisible risks. Subscribe for more scientific health facts to keep making informed decisions. Stay curious, and before you take your next bite of a fresh, unpeeled apple, ask yourself, what exactly are you feeding your body?